Hello, 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 and welcome to the Drag Race RuCap here on Reality TV RHAPups. I'm your host, Liana Boraas, and we are here to talk about episode 5 of RuPaul's Drag Race season 15. With us this week is our fabulous panel. She was feeling sick last week, but is back with us today. It is Beth Dixon. Beth, how are you?
I'm good. Last week I was going through sugar withdrawal and I couldn't just bring myself to be on the podcast. No. No, you all covered it incredibly well. And thank you for reading out a few points that I sent you in advance. But I'm back and I'm happy to be here.
Yes. And Aman Adwin is here as well. Aman, how are you doing?
If anyone was watching the video and just saw me freak out for 2 seconds, I'm sorry. It's DJ Khaled will not leave me alone. I don't know what Siri is hearing me say, but like every 2 seconds, I just keep hearing DJ Khaled. Like it's like I'm starting to lose my mind a little bit. But I am me and DJ Khaled are great. We're great.
Yes. Okay, good. Yes. This is the 4-person panel today. We're going to be breaking it down.
DJ Khaled.
Yeah. Didn't know he was a big Drag Race fan, but the more the merrier. We will welcome DJ Khaled to the panel as well. Okay. Well, Beth, is there anything from last week that you wanted to say that we didn't cover or you feel like we didn't hit?
No, I mean, I think you guys nailed everything that I was thinking about last week. And, having you read out some of the top points, I think for me were important. I was, as you all read out, I was a little less than impressed with having 2 snatch games and feeling like one was stronger than the other. But if you looked at that whole one that was stronger than that one, it like no one, like I didn't agree that Mistress Isabel Brooks was better than Marcia for how they did. I think that her runway was better than Marcia's, but it was hard not to be better than Marcia's runway. Yeah. I don't know. I just felt like it was overall kind of like a meh one. That said, Lucy LaDuca, queen. Mm-hmm. I only want her to only be Joan Rivers. And that's it. I know that she could do Dolly, all that stuff. I'm sure she has way more people in her arsenal. Nope, please just only be Joan. Thank you. That's it.
Okay, great. Good. So we're all caught up. One other thing that we talked about last week is that we thought that the challenge this week was going to be a room club decorating challenge. My bad. I totally interpreted that completely differently than what it actually was, which I'm happy with this week's challenge, which was ultimately a design challenge made with, I would say, unconventional materials, but there was a lot of fabric from couch cushions and curtains and things like that. But we have 4 different houses where they each have their own styled after some of the judges, and the queens have to make an outfit, but all still has to fit the same house look. So, Aman, given the actual interpretation of this week's challenge, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, I was fine with it. Like, I was kind of excited, like along the same line of thinking that you had, that it was going to be maybe we were going to get like another Club 96 moment somehow. But no, I liked this just the same. I really do enjoy the design challenges because once again, it just sort of reminds you of like where drag comes from and how it is a fake it till you make it kind of profession, and it takes a lot of crafting and talent to put a look together. So I loved it, and I really appreciate when the show is self-referential and giving a little love to its panel. So that was a lot of fun for me.
I agree. I thought it was a cute challenge altogether. The idea that that you took these aesthetics that we kind of think of with each of the judges and turned it into like home decor, but then also into looks that had to be cohesive, or a design challenge that has a team aspect to it. I thought it was a really cool challenge. I'd like to see this kind of thing again in the future too.
Yeah, I wasn't sure like what House of Kressley was going to look like, because like I don't know. I mean, I'm very much aware of like Ross being in LA, and I'm very much aware of, everyone knows, that Michelle is from Jersey, but I was like, wait, where the hell is he from? He's like from the middle of Pennsylvania. I was like, so what is this gonna be? Is this gonna be like
Amish themed?
Themed, like
plaid.
Like, what's going on? Like Pennsyltucky, like
plaid. Yeah, no.
White is Dutch apple pie.
White people love horses. That's what Queen Anitra left us with, right? Yeah. So. Okay, well, we're going to get into each of the individual looks. If you're watching the video version of the podcast on YouTube, we're going to pull them up in just a second to go through each of the looks from all of the individual houses. But first, we have to talk about the reading challenge. We got our first mini challenge of the season, and it is the one, the only, the reading challenge. Beth, thoughts?
Well, everyone's a lot funnier when they only choose one read for them, unless you're the
Right?
winner and then you get 3, or if you're Sasha Colby, you get 2. Or so, you know what I mean? Listen, I think this amped up the entertainment value a lot, because I think similarly to the Snatch game, we have this idea that I think that they were front loading these in the competition because it puts the editing pressure on providing the entertainment rather than just providing nothing like season 14 did when it came to reads, right? They can edit and say, okay, well, our excuse was we had, 13 queens that we had to, run through or whatever. So I was fine with the format, but it did mean that I'm sure that there's a lot that was lost on the cutting room floor, including some of those awkward ones. And I would love to hear those.
Yeah, I feel like because of like the mess that was like last season, they were like, okay, we gotta, like, they're getting all like the quintessential stuff out of the way. They're like, we're gonna do the Snatch game while we have the ammo for it. We're gonna do the reading challenge while we have the ammo for it. We just want it to be fun. We want it to be crisp. We want it to be funny. And yeah, they achieved it. I do wish we spent a little bit more time with it. And I don't mind seeing the ones that like crash and burn. Like sometimes the ones that crash and burn become the most legendary ones. It's like, girl, that was bad. But yeah, they gave us like the greatest hits edit, which is cool too. I think there were so many like good ones that I'm probably going to remember for quite some time. I think most notably is Lux to Marsha. I love that joke because I love Marshalls. So
Marshalls. That was so good. I went to my first ever viewing party at a bar to watch this week's episode, and I was like, this is a good barometer for the reading challenge, because I could hear like the people in the room going like, ah, or whatever, and that was one that everyone went crazy for.
Yeah, I totally co-sign what you guys are saying, especially in terms of let's just chop in all the best bits. I would love to see an extended edit of either the bad bits or just other good bits, because I'm sure there's other good reads too that they, maybe decided not to include. But it was nice that we kind of got a sampling of everybody. I do want to go through a few that I thought were really funny. So of course the Marshalls. Looking through your closet, it looks like you got everything from Marshalls. That's so funny. Lucy, though, with her, the one read that stood out to me the most, for very obvious and very dark reasons, was you should commit to the name Malaysia and disappear like that flight. Yeah.
Can
you say that on TV? It was hilarious. It was fantastic. I loved it. I mean, very dark, but also very funny.
That was one where you could tell the bar wanted to laugh at it, but was like, am I allowed to laugh at this in public?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. That's like the same feeling I had. I was like, this is really funny. And
there was
a
lot of,
it's like good shock value. It's like, oh my God, like I want to laugh, but ooh.
Obviously, we got to see a couple of Lucy's, which then it's so stupid, but I was like counting how many everybody got. And I was like, oh, Lucy's going to win. She got 3.
Yeah.
That's her other ones. We got the Yolanda shot the wrong Selena, which was pretty funny. And then the one about Mistress is heels. It's not her fault. They started off the stilettos.
Yeah, and I also felt like Mistress had some really strong ones too. And I was like, going into this, I was like, if I had to count and say who I think, I was like Mistress, because she's clearly values old drag, and old drag's about good crafted reads and that kind of thing, right? So I was like, Mistress is going to come in hot with it. I figured after the Joan Rivers experience that we had last week that Lucy would be quick on it. But I also was like, okay, Sasha's an institution. I want to see what Sasha's going to bring to the table. And I thought Sasha was fine. I didn't think that they were like the best, but they were far from the worst. So yeah, I think
was it major intestinal blockage for Mistress?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what was the other one? It was oh damn, I forget.
I honestly don't even remember. I don't really remember Sasha's. I didn't write any of them down, so obviously I didn't think they were that funny.
And I admitted before we started recording that I did not go back and watch the reads. I went back and watched the runways and everything, and I was like, oh man, I should have done that, because clearly I was going to forget some.
It was the one about Anitra sounding like this health insurance company that sold
the facelift, Lucy's facelift.
Yes.
Insurance for Lucy. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
suing for Lucy's facelift.
Yes.
Yeah, that was funny. The other read about Lucy that was from Mistress that I liked was the after hearing you sing, I understand homophobia. I thought that one was really great. Amethyst had one, is there a volume lower than mute about Spice?
Mm-hmm.
That's, just a simple, but good for her to get one in there. Oh, the one that I wanted to ask you guys about, because what do you Beth is just laughing.
I thought that was low key shady. You're like, good for you to get something in there.
Damn. Yeah, I finally managed to watch Untucked this week. And the one thing in Untucked where it was like Anitra is like talking about how, she's like not very close to their family and like all this stuff. And Aura's like, yeah, I don't like it when people talk about stuff like that because I can't relate.
I was like, I think Aura's so out of touch. It's like,
Anitra
like, good for you, queen.
Yeah.
Just her reaction to that too is like so, because like I would have been pissed.
Oh yeah,
I was like so composed to that. But the other one that I wanted to ask you guys about. Okay, so this was like between Jax and Aura, where Aura had a read to Jax. It was something about like, if I can't squeeze you too much because Peta's gonna come after me, and then she like barked at her, and then Jax was like, "Well, you're the one trying to F me."
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what's going on? I was like, the episodes are not long enough. Please explain.
I had to run that back because I was like, wait, what's going on with that one? I was like, they just kind of just like let that slip. So I'm like, I'm wondering if that's going to come back up later, maybe? Or is it just
I can't wait for the reunion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
At the end of the season in, 10 months when we'll be able to actually figure out what happened for this one throwaway moment.
We've totally forgotten about everything. Yeah, so those are sort of the main ones I had. Oh, Marsha. Okay, can we come up with a short name for Marsha? Marsha? Can we just call her
Marsha times 3?
Marsha.
Eminem.
Marsha. Sure, her one about Spice. I thought was funny. It's not fair for her to go through the competition with half a brain. That was cute.
That was fun. Yeah. That was fun.
Okay.
And then, like 5 minutes later, it kind of proves to be the point when she's cutting the pillowcase off, and we're like, "Oh no, honey, there's a zipper."
Yeah, so let's get into the main challenge. So this week the queens were tasked with, the official description is that they have 3 different fashion houses, which I'm not sure how they got assigned into these different teams, if they got to pick or if it was just random.
They said it was random.
Okay, random. All right. So they're randomly assigned to 3 different fashion houses inspired by 3 of our judges. Even though Carson wasn't there, it was Ross, Carson, and Michelle. And they have to turn home decor into haute couture. And so they have to go to the sets with their houses.
Their IKEA showrooms of that house.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
The IKEA showrooms, and just essentially chop up whatever they can find, bring it back to the workroom, and then create different design looks, all based around whichever house they're themed on. So let's talk about these looks. The first house we're going to discuss, so we're going in order of what they appeared on the runway, is the House of Visage. So this is going to be Sugar, Luxe, Mistress, Amethyst, and Aura. Are going to be the queens here. The only other note I have from their like walkthrough that they did with Ru, because we did get a little bit of a walkthrough this week's episode, is that Ru was hesitant on their royalty design concept. So we can sort of keep that in mind as we're going through some of the looks, if we feel like what their cohesive message was, apart from just animal print. So let's talk about the first queen, and that is Mistress, who didn't end up in the top, but I did see some chirpings, and I would say that I would agree with this, that like I could have seen her in the top over maybe some of the other queens. She designs this absolutely stunning bodice, tight skirt. She's a big girl, and she talks about how this fabric is not stretchy. So she designed this exactly to fit her body.
Yes.
It's incredible.
It's sleek. It's powerful. It's very clearly Michelle Visage. There's Merkin on the bag. Like, it's just, it's giving.
Perkin, I think they called it.
Yeah. It's really giving. When she came around the corner, I was like, ooh, yes, fuck it up, sis. Fuck it up. I'm not sure I love the makeup, like around the eyes. It's kind of giving like a little bit of like, I'm
clown?
not sure. Yeah,
She
like a
loves
little
that
bit.
clown. She loves that clown white in
Mhm.
Right.
that
And I know
region.
that's very like, stereotypical of like her style of Southern drag. So I won't knock too much points for it. But yeah, I think everything else is just it's perfect. It's perfect. And I love that she refuses to wear the higher heel. She's like, I'm a big girl. And so many big girls have come on the show and broken things, twisted
Mhm.
ankles. I'm not doing it. You're gonna get these
Yep.
kitten heels today, bitch.
Plus, they
Orthopedic
started
shoes.
off as stilettos.
Yeah, at the beginning of the runway. No. Yeah, I love this look. I struggled to say that I think that she deserved to be in the top for it but I also like the more I look at it, I realize just how structured it
Mhm.
is. Like it's like even just like the bra part of the bodice and like how it comes up, like that is not easy to pull off if you have
Mhm.
tatas. And that
Mhm.
is I think it's really gorgeous. And I really didn't pay much attention to the cape with just the arms like going up to the elbow until until second viewing. And so when I watched it, I was like, you know what? This I could have seen this in the top then. But at the time, I thought it was definitely a safe look. It was nowhere near the bottom for me. So I could see this being an alternate for the top for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those looks that is deceivingly simple. And especially
Yeah.
the fact she talks about it's not starchy fabric. She makes a hat, she makes a bag. I think all of that, deserves credit. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm happy she was at least safe. But I think you could potentially make an argument that she did deserve to be in the top. So
Yeah.
so this is the first look out of the House of Visage. So let's go to the next look. This is Aura, and she talks about how this is, I think, the second look she's ever crafted, and it's made out of a rug.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, I think a rug.
I thought this was a safe look. I didn't think it deserved to be in the bottom, but I definitely don't think it deserved to be near the top. You can tell that the skirt portion on the hips is like if she this is going to sound bitchy and I don't mean it like this, but like if she knew how to sew a little bit better, she could have made it like look a little more curvaceous, but instead the kind of the flap of the skirt makes her a little bit more square. And I think she's trying to give curvier proportions with like having the high slits on the side. So I think that
Yeah.
if she had been able to kind of accentuate the hip being out with a little bit more sewing on the sides, it would have been much more tailored looking. But I also think this is probably a pretty tough material to work with. I say this as a non-sewer, so y'all can like be like, Beth, you have no idea what you're talking about. And you're right, I don't. But I just felt like overall this is a pretty safe look and I liked it. I think it was fine.
Yeah, I agree with like the sort of like blocky type of look towards the bottom. I think she kind of ran into the same issue that Selena Titties ran into with her skirt as well.
Yeah.
I think that with the hip sticking out, it can sort of like only accentuate just how square that skirt is, which I understand is sort of like a style of skirt. I've seen people wear things like this before, but it does come off like just a touch awkward. But
Mhm.
I do like I like the look. I feel like it's once again that leopard print or zebra print. Is this zebra? What is it? This is zebra.
This is
This
zebra.
is zebra.
Brown cow, white sign. Yeah. So
Brown and stunning.
so yeah, I do like it. I'm not sure about like the neck area, like the cape. I don't know about that part too much. I kind of wish that was
Mm.
kind of gone. But other than that, I feel like she understood the assignment and she did the prompt well.
Mm. I get warrior from this, and maybe it's
Yeah.
because of the armbands with then the zebra. Like she hunted down the zebra and made
Mm.
an outfit
Yeah.
out of it. Like she killed it herself. And so from that perspective, I would agree with you, Aman,
I
that the
mean,
cape
depending
doesn't
on what area of Jersey you live in, hey.
maybe.
Yeah. If anything, it should have been the deer that you hit with your car because that's Jersey.
Yeah. Dead deer stunning.
Yeah.
So I would agree that I think like the cape maybe doesn't necessarily go per se. It's simple, but at least you can't immediately see anything inherently wrong. I mean, the seams are a little
Mm.
rough, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, good for her for being safe. Good for her.
Yeah.
Liana, I love.
No, I think she sold it well. At like
Yeah.
looking at the pictures, I like it less than when I actually liked it on the runway. Although I will
Yeah.
say, okay, here's my overall comment on this. I think everybody actually did a really good job. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
we've seen disasters on the runway when it comes to design challenges.
Mhm.
Like not even La La Ree, like complete disaster, like middle
Oh,
I
disaster.
still don't even understand how that happened?
It's like my
And she stayed.
it's my favorite look I think I've ever seen on the runway. Not even joking. I think about that way too often. Like I'll just be sitting there. I might be sitting at home with depression and just thinking to myself, oh, you know, I'm having a really low day. And then I'll remember that Lala returned down the runway in that bag ball looking like that and then stayed.
It's like, if you can do that, I can do any
better.
motherfucking thing, okay?
I love Lala Ree.
The Sharknado of runway outfits, like so bad, it's good. But anyway, so I'm just gonna say that I think overall, all the girls, I think even the looks that are in the bottom, I think they still did a good job. So this is just, you know, sort of.
And I think it's
nitpicking of
because
what
they
we
were
have.
all on teams, right? Like sometimes we have
Right.
design challenges where you know they're everyone for themselves, but when you have your sisters there to sort of pick you up, but then that kind of makes it hard. I'm like, for the judging, I'm like, okay, so if there's like a main seamstress or designer that's on the team that you know that's their strong suit, and they're the ones that are checking everyone's outfit and making sure everything is good, and the outfit doesn't look good, who do you send home? Do you send home the person that wore it, or you send home the person that was like mainly in charge of designing everything? So I was interested to see how that was going to happen.
Well, I didn't know how it was going to be judged. If it was going to be judged in teams or individually. I assumed individually, just because that's sort of been the trend. And I wonder if the queens thought about that as well, in terms of like, yeah, I'm going to help you, but I'm not going to help you, right?
Right, like, because I saw like the whole thing between Lux and Amethyst. Like, you could tell
Amethyst.
that Lux wanted everything to look good, but at the same time, there was like some hesitation. There was like, well, girl, like, if you got to go home, then you got to go home. So
yeah. One more thing about Aura that I'm just realizing is that I wish she didn't have an ankle strap with her shoes, because then I think that also with the line of having a straight line for the skirt and that it cuts her off. So if she had like a normal just stiletto or something, I think that also would have just maybe tied it together a little. It's something so small, but I really I'm not Raven where I hate ankle straps. I'm just saying for this particular outfit.
yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Amethyst. So Amethyst, our resident bottom bitch, unfortunately, it was her time to go. And this is the look that she creates. I mean, here's the thing. Honestly, it's not that bad.
No.
And that's the thing is that I think everybody did a serviceable, decent job. A lot of the critiques that she got were from the stole that I agree it doesn't really match because it's a cool gray, not even a warm gray.
Yeah,
so it really
it's
doesn't
giving
match.
rat fur. Is what it's giving.
Exactly.
To be fair,
yeah.
Have you been to Newark?
The other critique that she gets is for the sort of ruffles on the panties, which I think because of the movement on the runway, I didn't notice as much until the judges pointed it out afterwards, that essentially the right side, which is covered with the fabric, not with the slit, that can look a little bit bunched, but I kind of liked it, like cheeky picture.
Yes, so did I.
So,
When the camera zoom, you can't really see it in the picture, but like when the camera zoomed up on it, I thought there was like a nice little flare out design on like that was lining the panty. I thought that was kind of nice. So like when they were critiquing that, I was like, oh, okay, they just want to send her ass home.
I think so. Yeah. I think a little bit they were overhurt.
I do think that this is not that bad. I do agree that it's a bottom look, but I wouldn't say it was the worst one. And I will probably get roasted for what I do think the worst one is. But I think my issue is that there's nothing in the light gold of the dress that ties to the darker gold of the leopard. I don't know. Like I would want something else that helps to tie that all together. Otherwise it just looks like two different gold. I don't know. I could just be like really picky here. And I think maybe if she lost the stole, it'd be fine. But she does like that hair and makeup and everything like gives me Jersey Shore alternate. Like this is who was passed over for Angelina. You know what I mean? Like, and then Angelina didn't stick around and she's like, hi, could I get on the show now? And they're like, no, we're going to bring in Snooki's friend in season 3. So
we're going to bring in Snooki's friend Andrea from down the way.
Dina. But
Yeah, the makeup, the hair, and the hoops, just loved.
Yeah, me
And
too.
it's it's funny too because when you see things in the workroom that are like half finished, and then you see them finished, you're like, oh wow, it looks so good, just because like you saw what it was in progress, right? But you
Yeah.
don't necessarily get that for everybody. So I think she should be happy with what she turned out on the runway. I do agree that she should have been in the bottom. I also think like it was just
I think it was
her
just her time.
And it wasn't good. Like it was, because I feel like, I don't know, I'm going back and forth between if I think it was the worst. I think it's hard because all of them are so like good. Like they're all
Mhm.
presentable looks. There are
mhm.
no Lalaris here, but I feel like I do think maybe it's not as innovative as some of the others. Maybe
Mhm.
because it's all
Mm.
uniform and it's one, mainly the whole thing is just one piece of fabric. Then maybe that's probably what lands her in the bottom. Whereas some of her sisters, they kind of did a little bit more. There was a little bit more dimension. There was a little bit more
Mhm.
drama. You could tell that some of the other outfits took a little bit more time and expertise to craft, maybe so
Mhm.
than this one.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Spice. I think Spice got a little lucky here. I do think that they could have justified putting her in the bottom. Her makeup and hair and everything looks stunning. The
Yeah.
big thing that stood out to me about this, though, was like the bra top in the back. There's like
Mhm.
a fastener or something that you can sort of see that I wish was covered, even with just like some purple or something. Just like glue some purple on right before you go on the runway.
Mhm.
That would have like covered it up. And it is a very simple look.
Very simple. I think they're going easy on her because she lost her sister.
Aw.
I think she definitely is uh, relying a little bit on that body yaddy yaddy, just a little bit. But I do think what saves her, like you said before, is like the hair and the whole face is just so, it's like giving like futuristic Jersey Girl. Like this is what the
Oh,
Jersey Girls
yeah.
are gonna look
Mm.
like in like 2052. Like this is what you're gonna see in a Jersey club. So I can see I see a vision here. I see a fresher modern take on the House of Visage. So she gets points for that for sure.
This is like if Euphoria was set in Jersey. Like
Yeah.
that's where I'm getting for this outfit. That honestly, I agree that I actually think this should have been in the bottom because I especially I don't mind the strappiness in like the bra with like the straps, the purple straps. I like all the little bits of purple. I love that she thought about putting purple on the shoes. Like
Mhm.
that was smart. Like so she clearly thought from head to toe where she was going to put these purple accents in a way that
Right.
was still accents and not the point of the outfit. I give her props for that. Where I don't give her props is for these stupid effing stockings that she's wearing. Why? Why are you wearing those stockings if not just to cover up something that's going on underneath that like skirt, squirt, whatever? And it is such a different tone of skin. If you're going to show that much skin in the upper part, like I'm so distracted by it.
I was about to say maybe
Mm.
she was trying to hide the scars from that lip sync, but then again, that was her sister, not her. Falling all over the place.
So yeah, I think this should have been a bottom look. I agree. I think this well, here's the other thing too. Clearly the twins Sugar and Spice are like entertaining, and there's a lot of people, and I kind of agree with this, that we're saying like with this many queens, there are a lot of queens who haven't had criticisms yet, and I really feel like we had some queens that were in the bottom and top that shouldn't have been, but just haven't had criticisms for the past few
Mm.
weeks.
Mhm.
So I think that this was kind of like we'll save her because we know that she's going to bring entertainment and that kind of thing. I really think this was just a producing decision.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love Spice. I wanted to see her on the show for a long time, but I do think this was a bottom look.
I think I disagree. I think it's safe. I do think it's safe. I think like I said before, I think the top of everything sort of like saves it, and I think it's serviceable. I do think that yes. So here comes a skinny girl, just wearing basically next to nothing and making it through. So there is a little bit of that in there, but I do think that there's a vision there that I think is a little unique. That I don't think that anyone else other than Spice would have worn. So I think that it's definitely it's lower safe for sure.
Yeah.
This is a total tangent, but not a total tangent. But when, like, after the elimination at the beginning of the episode, when Spice is talking about Sugar going home, I'm not gonna lie, I got really emotional. I felt so bad for her, and like,
No.
I mean,
Maybe that's it.
obviously,
It's the twin power.
I actually thought of you, Aman, because you know how we had talked about it so much last week about how like heart-wrenching that is, especially when you like obviously I don't have a twin, but I can't imagine going through something with like a sibling, someone I'm even closer to than my sibling. Like just it made
Even
me
I didn't realize it. Like, quick story. Like, I went to Drexel, and Drexel didn't start school until September. Imani went to like a regular, more traditional school, and lots of the colleges start like mid-August, right? And
Yeah.
so she left, like almost over a month and a half before for freshman year. And so I'm just there for the rest of the summer at my parents'. It's just me. I have a little sister, but she's like 5 at the time. So I'm kind of just like by myself most of the time. And like at first I was fine. I was like, this is kind of cool. Like, oh my God, like this is the beginning of the rest of my life, I guess. And then there was just one night where I was just like, she's gone. And I called her and I cried. I was like, Imani, oh my God, like we're not together anymore. This is kind of insane. So like I don't know. I just yeah.
You feel it. Yeah. I couldn't help it. Yeah, I felt you. I felt her. I just felt all the emotion. So sad. So I'm actually, I'm also kind of okay. Even if though maybe I personally, if I was just looking at all the outfits, like completely blinded to everything, I may have put her in the bottom. But with that, I was like, it's okay. I'm okay. I give it one more bias, but I'm okay.
I'm not mad she's safe. I'm just
right. But the outfit.
Oh, here we
now,
go.
Let's talk about the most obvious best look of the week.
Oh my gosh. And I have not seen more of a consensus of like, yes, this person should have won, and they actually won.
Oh my
That's been a little bit of a problem the past 2 years with Georges and Gottmik, I think, that won over Utica. So this look, oh my gosh. Pants. A bitch in pants. I love this. I love this. And we're talking about, of course, Luxe Noir London.
Oh my gosh.
And the comment about how like she made those pants so that the stripes line up in them, like and there's you can still see a design in the pants, and just like the shawl thing, and then that gold against that brown skin, and that purple just always looks good on Black women. Like it's just like it's just something about that particular matchup, just that brown and purple, just like it's like peanut butter and jelly. It's just like oh, it's just so creamy and just like oh, it's so good. And you know what? Like a little piece of me, like, granted, like, look, I think that Luxe started it with Trinity. You did not need to come from Trinity like that. You started that, and when Trinity came back, and then you tried to run back in your corner and be like, girl, you started it. But I kind of lived a little bit for like because Trinity was like, I won like 9,000 challenges. I'm waiting on you to win one. And she tweeted after this episode, well, I won a challenge, and I'm like. I kind of lived a little bit.
I can't wait. If she continues to win, I can't wait for her to be like, oh, won another challenge. No, and another one. So yeah, no. It's so good.
It's giving Wakanda forever. It's giving Afrofuturism. I see Raja in this. I see Jada in this. I see Shea Coulee in this. I just love it all. I love it.
It's gorgeous. There's not a single this looks like something that she commissioned a designer to make and then bring to Drag Race. You know what I mean? And we know that she's crafty and a seamstress and all that kind of stuff, and clearly has a very good eye and mind for fashion. When this came around the corner, literally the entire bar gasped.
Yeah.
Like loudspeakers, people talking, and like you could hear only the show for like 3 seconds because everyone went, It was incredible.
Yeah. I think, first of all, there's just the energy as soon as she walks around the corner, right? That just is the reason why the bars reacted that way, because the way that she presents the look just immediately so stunning, so charismatic through just walking. Then you actually start to look at the details, the technical elements. One, she made freaking pants, which we know is very tough. She did this freaking zebra print and got everything to line up just so. Like it's alternating, but it's lined up perfectly alternating, which is also somehow amazing. The use of this purple fabric, the way it flows, the way it moves, the way she's draped it on her body, using it also for the headpiece, the wrap just is so gorgeous. And the little touches of gold, I think really just completely make this shine, pop. Everything about this, I think, was gorgeous, stunning, the correct decision.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It really looks like, yeah, it doesn't look like she just made it. It looks like it was made for her. Like it's
Yes.
so good. It's so good.
I hope she still has it.
Mhm.
Okay. That does it for the House of Visage. Oh, that was the other thing. I don't know who chose the order, but I'm very happy she came out last. I think
Mhm.
that was the right call. I don't know
She
if
knew.
if it was decision or production decision. Whomever it was, they made the correct one.
Oh,
Then
goodness.
closing up House of Visage, we're moving on to the House of Kressley, which I love this picture that they chose for Carson. He's got a riding crop between his teeth. Life without horses? I don't think
I don't think so.
Yes.
It kind of makes you hope that that is an actual pillow from his house too. Like that they were like, we got to get another one for this thing. Oh gosh.
Yeah, they actually went to their houses and just stole all their stuff.
Right.
Turned it into design. All right, House of Kressley. The first queen that we're going to talk about is Robin. So I think Robin is one of those queens that Beth, you mentioned, had she received any critiques
Nope.
up until this point? So she ends up in the top here, which I'm not gonna lie, was a little bit of a surprise to me.
Mhm.
Considering some of the other looks. Not that like I think it's bad per se. I just do think that there were some other looks that I maybe would have seen in the top over her.
Yeah, I'm like conflicted with this because like you said, it's not bad. Something
Mhm.
about it just doesn't like come together for me. I don't know. Maybe it's the boots. Maybe if the boots were brown, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I love her
Mhm.
hair. I think the makeup is stunning. The shoulder piece, the shoulder pad, like I want to like it more than I actually do. Like that's
Mhm.
clearly like the centerpiece of like the outfit, but like it's not. I don't know. Like it's not landing for me. I'm not entirely sure what it is.
I really like this look. I was fine with this being in the top because I think that there's just the one aspect for me that I think is really picky is that I wish that on the inside of the shoulder piece you couldn't see like the back portion of the fabric. Like I wish that he
Yeah,
had lined it with the
Mhm.
front so that when she's moving it doesn't look like the white
or made it double
underside of it.
sided. Yeah,
Yeah, made it double
Mhm.
sided would be great. I love the touches of leather. When it was walking on the runway, I didn't mind the black boots. I even said I'm surprised I don't mind the black boots because it's like I love this idea of taking they went for like a private school outfit
yeah.
theme, right? And I
Kressley
loved this
prep.
idea. Yeah,
Mhm.
Kressley prep. And I love this idea of mixing like affluent white women visions
Hmm.
like outfits and design with like inherently like a black hairstyle and
Gotcha. Yeah,
all these other things. Like I just thought that to me was just such a good idea for this team just in general, and I love how Robin has paired like her own culture and everything into this as well. Like I think that this looks really beautiful.
that's a
um
fair point. That made me feel better about the look a little bit.
yeah, I just think it's like I don't know. Maybe I'm reading way too into it. It's like when I go to the theater and I'm like, "Oh God, I think they made this lighting choice for that." And they're like, "No, they made the lighting choice because they had to turn on a light, Beth." Like, like you're reading too much into
We
it.
just needed to see the actors. That was it. You know.
But I think even like with the crop and everything, like I could see her being in like the remake of Heathers. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
just think this was cute. So.
I think that her presentation was really good. I think the hair and makeup, I agree, look really stunning. I think it's those little details for me
Mhm.
that kind of take me out of it a little bit. Like you mentioned with the shoulder, the hem, I think also on the skirt is a little
Yeah.
rough. Like I was trying to find a still of her not moving as much, but she was like moving all over the stage. So it was really tough to see. The way that the leather top also kind of hits a little bit is like bunches a little bit. So I think it's just like all those
Hmm.
little details where I feel like Anitra, although she's becoming one of my favorite queens, so again, bias. I think like she had more of those things like done up
Yeah.
and sort of cleaned up a little bit. But the presentation I think was really good. And
Yeah.
so I think that helped, especially with the riding crop and the boots.
Definitely.
Let's talk about Jax, who was in the bottom here. So she talks about how it is, as you said, Beth, a very Heathers, Heathers inspired look, sort of the like punk rock Heathers.
Heathers meets Harley Quinn.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I just want to take the collar off.
Honestly,
Yeah.
there's a picture of her with a completely different wig, and if she'd gone for that wig, which was much bigger and more like Heather's looking, like late 80s, early 90s, like, styled, I think she could have been in like I don't know why she was in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was far from a bottom look. I think like the only other time she's received any kind of feedback from the judges was the first episode when she was in the top. And I don't know. I think they just didn't like the mullet and the collar. Like, I think other than that, I don't understand like these boots. Like she actually made the boot with it. You know what I mean? Like, it looks cool. I don't know. I am completely disagreeing with her being in the bottom. When she was called up, I thought she was going to be in the top.
I forgot what she looked like until now. So, but now that I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is actually pretty decent. I wonder if it's mainly just the hair because I feel like the collar with that short hair, that combination, it like really chops her off, and she's already very small. So like I'm wondering if, like you said, if there was a different type of wig that she could have worn, maybe something a little bit more elevated, gotten rid of the collar, or maybe kept the collar on, which with just bigger hair and not so like deflated. Maybe that would have like helped push her up a bit more. And I thought that the little mallet was funny and campy and cool. Wait, what's that? Is that like a big belt? Is that what she's wearing?
Yeah, and it's got a horseshoe on it.
So yeah, maybe it's just cutting, like, because the collar cuts her off, the belt cuts her off, the hair is short. So like, if I'm trying to like understand where the judges were coming from, I guess that would be the main critique. But I don't know. Bottom? I don't know. Maybe I would have put Spice below this then.
Yeah.
I would not. I don't think I would have put her in the bottom, because for me, really, even if you took the collar off, I think I really would have liked this. I do hear what you guys are saying about adding the bigger hair would have looked good. Rue suggests adding shoulder pads, something to give her a little bit more elevation and a little bit more height, because the judges say that the outfit is made really well. The jacket may be a little bit big, but they were applauding her construction. And I think the use of the grommets from the curtains to use on the skirt as the that's so smart.
That's cute.
Like, very clever, very cute. As Beth, you're saying, the boot cover is adorable. I think it's just, those a few little tweaks that I think actually could have elevated this into the top. I probably would have put her safe personally. And the inclusion of the mallet too really helps I just think it's so smart.
Well, I think that was what the weird thing is like their biggest criticism was like, we don't know who you were supposed to be. I was like, it was fairly obvious that she was making fun of Heather's, like being
and that's when we talked about this in the past before. Like, when the judges start saying stuff like that's when you know it's like the kiss of death. It's like, you're not long for this world. When they start telling you, oh, we don't see you, we don't know what you're doing. It's like, okay, like, she's doing what she did. Like, that's Jax. What you're getting is Jax. That's it.
Well, I also think it was interesting to get that critique, especially on the episode where she's talking about like, people look at me in my hometown in Connecticut and don't think I belong or live there, like that kind of stuff. And like, I was sitting back and I was like, how interesting that you have somebody who has had to go through life in a pretty homogenous town where they're considered a quote unquote other person, like that they don't look the same as everybody else. And then at the same time, she's we don't know who you are. Well, bitch, that's been like her whole life story. Like, like, how are you not getting that? I don't know.
It reminded me also in Untucked when Marsha asked Janelle Monáe, like, what do you do when people don't appreciate you for who you are? Which was clearly like shade at the judges for being like, you keep making me try to be somebody else and do my makeup like someone else. And I can sort of see that with some of the other queens, especially like Jax here. So let's keep moving through the house of Kressley. So Anitra is up next. So this is a look that I really liked. I think that this is a look that sort of reminds me of what Robin was going for, at least with like the asymmetrical, the off the shoulder kind of look. And I think it's crafted a little bit better. I mean, you can definitely see some of the imperfections. I don't like the shoe choice and I don't like the tights. It's got the same effect that Beth was talking about with Sugar, that it's supposed to be a nude illusion, I assume, and it's not her skin tone. So it just does take you out of it a little bit. But she made a whole bag. Also, I thought her presentation was cute and the way she paints is just stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah, the boots, a lot of people had comments about the boots. I'm fine with the boot, like the design of the boot. I just wish that it were more of like a matte and not like a shiny boot.
Mm.
Like if it was just a little bit more muted, I feel like that would have like really lent itself to that vision and kind of like match what she's got going on with like her panty or her whatever you call that part. But yeah, I definitely her and
Robin
are like on two sides of the same coin. Both sort of like the asymmetrical type deal. This is like a little bit more grunge, whereas Robin's was more, you know, like preparatory school, like posh and chic. So yeah, I think like looking at some of the details, definitely a little bit more attention to it than Robin's. I love the little dots on the sleeve and on the shoulder pad, and then the little ruffle down rouging on the side skirt, the belt. Everything was meticulously put together, except them damn boots.
Yeah, I agree with you. I love the comment you made about wishing that the boot was matte. I'm actually fine with it being black because there's clearly black in the like tartan look.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that. Otherwise, if there wasn't black, if it was like only blues, then I would want that to be a brown boot.
Yeah.
But I think that's fine. My issue, I hate the skirt panty. Like I think I shouldn't say I hate. I like it, but it doesn't. I liked Robin's look from head to toe better. I like the attention to detail with Anitra better. I also feel like the top should be just another slight inch like lower underneath the breast. Like it really.
It was lending itself to like bathing suit area for a second, which
And
is like not.
And for me, I wouldn't even say that it was bathing suit area because, like, I don't know. I don't know if anybody else who has breastises has had this experience, but when you wear something and it's like really lifting up, it's just like it looks weird. Or if it lifts up and like you got some overhang going, which she didn't have to worry about. But it looks to me like the top portion is like too small because it's not long enough on like her chest area. If it was just, like I said, like an inch lower, I think it would have been perfect. I love the poofy shoulders. I think that, again, Jack suffered from the idea that I think pretty much everybody else had at least one poofed up shoulder from her and then she didn't have any. And it just like in contrast, that really makes her stand out in not a good way. I don't hate this look at all. I do think it was safe. I appreciate she made the bag. I love the leather work that she did get to do because I don't believe working with leather is easy. I just don't know if I liked the one side with like the tartan kind of stuff. It's something I just didn't get.
Yeah, I do love her runway. Sorry, Liana. I really do love her runway walk. Like, the way that she moves her body is just so like it's. I don't know. I've really appreciated her walk the most. Like it's like her this season and last season it was Georges. Like they just float down that runway. It's so tantalizing.
The last look from the House of Kressley is Selena S. Titties, who ends up in the bottom here for her comforter extravaganza look.
Okay.
I don't really know what to call it.
The construction, the idea of it, innovative. Like they said, like no one else really did something like this. It's like parachute type deal, cape thing, and it's funny. It kind of reminds me like one of Jan's looks from season 12. I don't know. Like a piece of me is like, I understand why she's in the bottom, but at the same time, I'm like, when I compare it to some of the other things that the other girls did, I'm like, well, should she get more points for doing a little bit more with the construction? But like, then again, if you're constructing something and it doesn't look that great together, then I guess that means nothing. I don't know. I'm like going back and forth.
I hated when she turned her on the runway. I literally, I was like, like that. And like to the point where people were laughing around me. I was like, no. Then when she dropped it, it kind of reminded me of April Carrion's like entrance look to season 6 with like the, you know, where she was like the parachuter kind of thing. And it kind of gave me that. And if it looked more like a skirt, like, you know, like those skirts that are like go around almost like 2/3 of the body, like from the back and kind of stop at the front. If it had set there and kind of stayed, I don't know how she would do that, but if it kind of did that, I would have been living. But it didn't, and it just kind of looked like, oh, now she's holding a blanket with these straps on her. Like that's how it came across to me. It didn't look like a skirt. And then I agreed with the judges that I felt like the top and the skirt itself are not the right size. Like they look too big or
Too
not
big, yeah.
not really tailored. But I do, design wise, color wise, all that kind of stuff, I do want to give her props there. But I do think that she should have,
Her
been the
face
bottom
is
and lip
so
sync.
stunning too.
Oh, she painted so well for this, and I love that hair. I love it. I also would have lost the necklace. Even when like the jacket portion, like the blanket portion comes down, that necklace is not needed. It's better to just accentuate, I think, with this outfit, either something really simple or nothing at all, and just like let I'm all about the breasts today, but let the breasts like speak for themselves. I think.
Titties, baby.
Show the titties off.
I see what Aman is saying, and I think I share that feeling of that. I want to give her credit for innovation, and I mean, the judges say like A for innovation, but then there's sort of all the caveats that Beth mentioned, right? In terms of it not fitting properly. The brown of the skirt, I think, should match the brown of the bust, but obviously only if she had enough fabric, right? So I'm trying to like keep all those things in consideration. I love the idea of doing the comforter like that. I think that that's so clever, but also there's just something about it that just isn't like completely polished. I think maybe if she had had more time with something like this, then that could have been tightened up a little bit. But I do want to still give her the credit for the innovation. Part of me does feel like, and this is my own conspiracy theory, there's no proof for this, it's all in my own head. They were like, we need to get rid of Amethyst. Who's going to send her home? Selena is going to crush, boots the house down or whatever, this song. Like, she's going to slay it, and she is going to be the one that's there's going to be like no question, right, of anybody being like, oh, who deserves to stay. That's why you can't put someone like Spice if you want to get rid of Amethyst down there, because obvious reasons. So I do wonder if that was kind of part of it as well, that maybe they were a little bit harsher on her. I could still see her being in the bottom, but maybe they were a little bit harsher on her just because they wanted that matchup to happen.
That's also a really good conspiracy theory as to why Jax was in the bottom too. Because I would absolutely also want to put Jax in the bottom if you wanted someone who could turn it out.
That's actually not a bad. Yeah, that's actually, I didn't even think about that. The jumping bean Jax in the bottom too. Oh boy. That finishes up the House of Kressley. We got one more house to talk about, the House of Mathews, Palm Spring to a T. And we're kicking things off with Sasha Colby, who ended up in the top. What was the bar's reaction to this? I gotta know.
What do you think the bar's reaction was to this?
It's a rhetorical question, I guess.
Uproar.
I mean, honestly, everybody was screaming and gagging. It was so great.
I'm pretty sure one of the bartenders over here was pouring the drink and was like,
and it just was running over,
overflowing. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. This is gorgeous. I personally, and y'all can come for me, I understand. I personally think this was really safe for Sasha. I don't knock it at all. I think the best part about this is actually not the swimsuit that still looks stunning and gorgeous. It's the cape, like kimono shawl thing. Like, it looks so cool. The sleeves for that, the fact that it's, half of it on the inside, it's this like silky pink, and then on the outside is this white and floral look. It's so gorgeous. But at the same time, I was like, okay, well, it's a swimsuit. And okay, like, I don't know. I just didn't think it makes sense for Palm Springs too, right? So I'm trying to give the roses where they are, but at the same time, I couldn't help but feel like, I feel like Sasha could have really done something we've never seen before or something like that. But that said, again, I live for the day. Well, I don't know if I could ever be as silky shiny as she is, but I live for the day where maybe because if I did, I think I would just blind everybody around me. Could you imagine this white like shining and just everyone's like, oh no, like I can't, there's a woman over there that's making, but oh my gosh, she just looks so beautiful.
It's the body yaddy yaddy. It
Mhm.
just filled out the garment. Like you kind of just, you look at it and you're just like, I mean, holy mother damn. Like
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know if oh no, I don't know. How do you not put her in the top? Like, I don't know. She just looks so fucking good. Like,
Oh,
ugh.
I think she should have been in the top for sure. But this was my, I think, more justification as to like why Luck should win versus
Oh yeah, for
Sasha,
sure.
if
She
that
did
makes
not beat
sense.
Lux. She did not
No.
beat
Yeah.
Lux. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think. Ooh, I'm questioning things.
This was made for her, which I know is a stupid thing to say because literally she made it for her. But like there are certain garments you see queens wear that just fit them so perfectly. This is so well crafted to her body. Like this look, I would say Mistresses also is like this look is clearly made for them. The
Mhm.
way that the coat fits, maybe even too tight, as we talk about Janelle Monáe saying that like she struggled a little bit, maybe and tried to take it off, just left it on. I think it looked great with the coat on, so I'm actually kind of happy that it
Yeah.
didn't come off. It fits exactly what the House of Mathews I think is supposed to be, which is why she ends up in the top because it's just so stunning. I do think the argument of like, well, it's just a bathing suit, but I think because the way she sells it, the way it fits her
Yeah.
body, because it is made for her, plus the coat, all of
Mhm.
that, I think elevates it up to the next level.
Yeah, and the way she presented it, like by walking out with the hands up, and you just see the back of the shawl, and then turning around, just like, bam, like, eat it,
Eat it. This is here. The ankle strap is fine.
Here it works. Here it fits. I mean, with those long legs, nothing can cut it off. Like they're just so long.
That is, she's got a bathing suit, so like the next like horizontal line is at her waist, so it's like, we're good.
Mhm.
The next look is Lucy DeLuca, who also made pants, who I think that if not for the top being a little bit loose in the way that it fits, I mean, I
Little
could have
Lucy.
seen her in the top as well. I love the way the
Mhm.
sleeves open. I love that slit on the side. And I think the pants are so well crafted as well.
I was getting Dolly Parton again,
Mhm.
and I was just like, I feel like I just saw this. Now, granted, you did make it, you did design it, and it's good. I feel like the top of it is a little, yeah, like you said, a little loose, a little. You can tell that some of the hemming wasn't like tight around certain areas. So I was kind of underwhelmed with Lucy. I feel like this. I don't know. Does she claim to be a seamstress? Is she a seamstress?
Yeah, I think she said that she sews.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I kind of expected a little bit more, especially after she came off of a win and then came off of a mini challenge win. I was kind of like, okay, what's next? Let me see. And I don't know. I mean, also coming right after Sasha Colby, it's like, well, damn, like,
Yeah, whoever set the order there
yeah,
clearly was not Lucy. I don't hate the concept of the look. I think my problem is that the top and the bottom do not work together in my opinion.
Yeah, they clash.
They clash too much.
But so does that aesthetic, like that Palm Springs over saccharine, like
Yeah.
pinks and greens, and it's all very much clashy and tacky. But this one in
Yeah.
particular just doesn't seem to gel in the same way the other ones do.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the pants are very Dolly. The top portion is Dolly and
Dolly
Farrah
with the breast reduction.
you know what I mean? And like it's like her hair is like very Farrah, and it's just like to me. I don't know. I got Florida, not Palm Springs. I got white woman from Georgia on vacation kind of thing. Like that's I don't know. But that said, again, going to the actual craftsmanship and everything, like I love the sleeves having the cutout, and I love the yellow of the like undershirt portion matching the yellow of the pants. Like stuff like that I'm fine with. But even with like clashing prints and things, like there's a way to make it look cohesive, and I just don't know why, but this just doesn't scream cohesiveness to me. That said, I don't think it should be in the bottom. I'm happy that she's safe. And I probably would have chosen different hair.
Yeah, I think, me too. The hair.
I think because I'd wear it. I love this. I am unapologetically like, I love this. I love the pants. I do hear what you guys are saying, especially like maybe the blue should have matched the blue in the pants, right? The blue in the top should match the blue in the pants, right? Which then would have tied it in with the leaves because it's a little bit more of that darker blue. I totally get it. Rationally, I understand it, but I don't know.
Mhm.
Or maybe it's my bias for Lucy. Could be.
I do love Lucy.
Same. I love that show. Okay, should we talk about this look? So we're going to discuss Malaysia, and I am not going to lie to y'all. I was convinced she was in the bottom.
Same.
I thought she was going to be in the bottom. I thought she was going to be in the bottom. I was like, the edit is giving bottom. The look is giving bottom.
Really?
So I think it was because it was just like we saw the coat in the runway we saw the coat in the workroom, and I think because I had that vision of it, I didn't really look and see, and go to the opposite way of Amethyst. Like I didn't quite see all of the little detailing she did to make this better, and so I just thought that this was going to be in the bottom. The more I look at it, the more I get confused about where I think ultimately she should have been placed.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom hem, actually lack thereof, a hem on the dress was actually very distracting to me. And you can't really tell from this photo, but when she's walking, there's like obvious threads hanging down where like she didn't take the time to even just take a safety pin and just like roll up that and just like do that, so it's like one clear cut line. It's uneven across, and like so when we're looking at the picture on the right, if you're watching the video, the right portion of the hem is actually, that doesn't curve around. It's like it's I don't know, it's just like it was so distracting to me. And then like the little collared portion at the very top looks like arts and crafts, like with like the little pink balls around like the neckline and such. I love the waist. I love that belt, and with like the kind of mixture of like a more traditional belt, but like having it with the kind of scarf material. I love that, the concept for the hat. I love the concept for the look, but I thought she was going to be in the bottom because it, to me, there was a lot of places that just, I felt like, oh, come on, just pin that or hem that or do something and it would look better. I also felt like the cape was just really wrinkly. And when you have that material, it wrinkles so easily that you got to make sure it's like well steamed and everything. And it's distracting to me to look at it, and like my focus is going for all the creases and the fabric. So those were the things that I thought she was going to get red for. I do want to say, I think this color looks stunning on her, this pink. I love the concept of the outfit. I think that dress with just a little bit more finessing would have been absolutely stunning on her. I really don't like the cape portion though. But other than that, I mean,
the colors are giving Malibu Barbie. Yeah, which I love.
I love that. Palm Springs Barbie.
So I don't know, when I saw it on Friday night, I remember her coming around and me and a few other people around me like, oh yes, work, bitch. And I still do feel that way, but now that I'm looking at it a little bit more, like the little belt, little bow thingy is looking a little deflated and distracting and not the way that it should. And the cape is a little off kilter. Like you could tell that on her right shoulder, it's kind of like the part that's supposed to be like the puffy pad part is like back further than it should be. So it is a little rough around the edges. I still do not believe that this is the first thing that she's ever sewn. She's, I mean, obviously she took a sewing class, so she's been learning how to sew. But for this to be her first one class, and for this to be her first effort, like that's insane to me. Like
maybe the class covered how to make a dress like this. That was the first thing that she's
maybe, because like I'm like, baby, if this is your first effort, then girl, you have a damn talent. Like you need to put some more time into it, because if you can do this on one go, so yeah, I think I'm a little higher on it than both of you are. I do think that the makeup is a little off.
Yeah,
I do love the hat though. It really was giving me like what Janelle Monáe said about like First Lady Easter Sunday hat competition at the Baptist church. Like if the guest judges have any bearing whatsoever in like what some of the outcomes of these panels can be, I would care to guess that Janelle Monáe swung hard for Miss Malaysia.
Yeah,
I could see it. The last look we're going to talk about is Marsha giving 60s aesthetic librarian in Palm Springs.
it's a nice safe look.
At this point, I just want like a 1960s Disney princess movie with Marsha as the lead, and she just twirls down the stage, and that's all there is to it. And she blows kisses, and then the end. That's all I need now.
That was this runway, yeah, and I think that was this runway. It was cute. Yeah, it was cute. I think this is a good look. I love the way that the back is constructed with the cutouts, which you can kind of see here. The pops of orange that match the stems of the plants and the look. I think that that's really good. I don't think that compared to the other ones, this would be in the top, but I think this is a really solid, safe look.
This is definitely looking at that 60s aesthetic. Like when you look at the just below the knee skirt line, I think that it adds to the aesthetic that she normally does, while at the same time catering to a type of person who goes to Palm Springs who maybe is slightly more conservative in, skirt lengths and that kind of thing. And I think that sometimes we get so caught up with like, it should be shorter, it should be longer, that sometimes those like middle of the road skirt lengths we're kind of like, oh, that's not fashion. But I think that she did a great job of making something that was clean and that you could see somebody wearing and paying money for it. Again, it's a safe look. I do appreciate that, she's listening to the judges with the makeup and getting a little bolder and such, but I don't know if y'all saw the tea on this with the makeup. That Spice was at Roscoe's and was basically saying that they asked her who helped her with her makeup, and she said Luxe, and but Sugar and Spice had actually helped her a lot with it, and she didn't say either one of them. So this was for last week's episode, the Snatch Game, and so the twins were pretty upset about that they were on the other end looking at each other like, you say something, no, you say something, no, you say something. So when it got to them, they were like, and also we would like to take credit for also helping Marsha with her makeup look.
And so I think she was like wearing their lashes too.
Yeah, she was wearing their lashes. Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was.
Marsha,
we would like to.
Marsha is a liar.
Well, it's not that she's a liar, because I guess Luxe did help her, but it's just that she left out complete things. So now she has a tweet where she went out and said, these are all the queens that helped me with my makeup, just to be perfect there. So this is like, Marsha keeps getting under attack for different things especially from like Sugar and Spice. So I'm sensing that there's not the best of blood there, but at least from the twins' perspective, it seems like Marsha's doing a lot of apologizing.
And so Marsha, she tweeted what you said, Beth, where she literally and thanks everybody who gave her makeup advice at some point during filming. She also follows that up and said, when I was asked, I said Luxe because she was the one I sat next to on a daily basis, who I asked questions to, who physically taught me new things. I was not trying to exclude the twins. Luxe was simply at the forefront of my mind, and we were at the end of a very long day. So she's definitely out there doing damage control as after the fact, but it's happening now, not like I don't know if this is because it came out publicly because Sugar and Spice talked about it, so it came out publicly, so she's saying it, or did she actually apologize while the show was filming? That we don't know, but she's trying to cover some ground now.
I would also say too, and just to do a slight tangent, there are a lot of really passionate fans for Marsha, and a lot of them, I'm assuming, and so is she, are the ones that have been kind of responsible for getting Mistress's accounts taken down and everything. And I do want to give Marsha some props, because she put out a TikTok that was basically like, y'all need to stop. Like, what are you doing? We're all fine. If I have any issues, I can handle them privately. Anything that happens in public, like, enjoy your time with me. If you want to support me, great. But what you're not going to do is at people, throw shade, all this other stuff. And then she ends it by going, but yay, new episode this Wednesday, whatever, like that. It like, I really did feel the like, hey, y'all need to stop. Like, it wasn't like a Valentina, like, my friend, like, guys, don't do this on my behalf. Like, it wasn't like that. This was like her genuinely being like, and she calls out, she says, it's not shocking to me that the people who are getting attacked the most are like non-white, non-skitty people. So she's like,
Mhm.
Mistress is getting attacked because she's not a skinny white person. Jax is getting attacked because they're not white. Like,
Yeah.
just all these different kinds of things. So she's basically like, stop. And I agree. There's been so much toxicity going on. And she even calls into like, hey, parents, if you have children who are on social media, maybe you should check out what they're posting, because I guarantee that I'm hoping that these are younger people who aren't developed and that
Oh,
are,
it is. It is.
so.
And I have to remind myself of that fact all the time too when I see stuff like online and on Twitter, and I'm like, this is a child. This is a child. Because who talks like this? Now, don't get me wrong, there are definitely some people our age and older that are up here acting crazy too. And y'all, that's just too far gone at that point. But yeah, like, knock it off, y'all. Like, we go through this season after season. Like, let these queens live. Like, enjoy the show and go the fuck home.
If you don't like somebody, don't at them. Like, come on. Like, they don't need to see just the negative portions of everything, Like, if you want to give someone their roses, then you at them and you tell them that they did a great job. If you're going to say something like mean or whatever, like, I guarantee that the way that you shade is nowhere near as funny as how the queens do it among themselves. So just sit back and keep that tongue in your mouth.
I mean, I'm sure it's no one listening to this podcast, but remind your friends to be nice, which seems like such a weird thing to have to say, and to not be mean. It's like a basic rule. Y'all can do it. We can do it. Okay, good. Let's talk about the lip sync. And we have Amethyst and Selena in the bottom. We get Queen by Janelle Monáe, which was interesting because sometimes we've had this guest judges song and sometimes we hadn't. So I just don't understand the logic behind that, but fine. Very happy. I think that this was a bit of a done deal for Selena to win and Amethyst to be sent home. The nail in the
too. You could see it on her face even before the song started. I was like, oh.
I mean, it was her third time in the bottom, and it's a little bit of a kiss of death for a lot of the queens, especially against Selena, who we know is like the most energetic performer. And I think the nail in the coffin was when Selena dropped her skirt, which at first looks like an accident, but it's to the line, a sinner with my skirt on the ground. And then slams her punani down into the ground. I just loved every of it. So good.
They both did the split at the same time. I was hoping that some editor was like showed Courtney-Act from season 6 when it was Laganja versus what's her face?
Jocelyn Fox.
Jocelyn Fox, yeah. And she was like, both girls go into splits at the same time. I just so good. Like, I was hoping for that just like little throwback. So if somebody has editing skills, please edit that and send it to me. I will appreciate that. But no, Selena swept the floor with Amethyst.
With her pussy and with Amethyst, both sweeping the floor. Because she's anyway, whatever. Okay, Amethyst is eliminated. I'm sorry, Connecticut Queen. Welcome back to Connecticut. And I'm happy that she ultimately ended up with this is her 5th episode, considering the fact that she had sort of struggled for 2 episodes and then had a little bit with the Tan Mom redemption and then ultimately ended up going home here. So sad to see her go, but I think it was her time.
Yeah, I think so too. And she's been doing drag for 2.5 years, so to get on Drag Race and to last as long as she did, and clearly she was doing her best, and she was able to show off some of her comedy with Tan Mom last week and that kind of thing. I think that I'm hoping that she's somebody that can take a lot of what she's learned from the show and apply it to her drag, and it's not the last we see of her, kind of thing.
Especially now with All Stars taking from any placement they want, then who knows, right? If you show improvement off the show, like, you could absolutely end up on an All Stars.
Yeah,
for sure.
Anything else that either of you want to say about this week's episode?
No, I'm still like immensely enjoying the season. I feel like, once again, like I said at the beginning, a lot of these queens, all the ones that go home, like, even if this one was like a little bit more predictable, I still felt like, oh, bye Amethyst. Like, I feel like I'm going to be disappointed for all of the queens that go. So I really, I feel like we can kind of like guess like who some of like the top contenders are going to be towards the end. Yeah. But I still feel like this is like really anyone's game, and that's really exciting for me.
Yeah, I think that we have a pretty clear group of who is going to go far in the competition. And I'll say that I'm worried for people like Aura. I think, Aura and Spice, those are maybe Selena. Those are people that I'm kind of sitting back and going, I don't know. But that
Robin, I would put in that list.
See, that's the problem.
Maybe
Is I
Jax.
forgot about Robin, and that's
she's a
the
little
issue.
understated, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's still time. Like when people start cycling out, and the cameras are forced to spend more time on one queen, like sometimes that shit can turn around real fast.
It's true.
I always
love
think of
personality too. Personality will always save a queen, because let's be honest, Candy Muse, she could have gone home a lot of times, but she and I love Candy, and we all love Candy. That's why she stayed. So she made top 2.
I always think of Sasha Velour as a queen who like really faded in the background in those early
Silent killers
of 9, and ended up coming out later. So I'm totally with you, Aman. I think even though there's people maybe we're writing off now, it's not the kiss of death. Like I think it may have been in previous seasons. So,
and I'll also say I didn't think that Lady Camden started especially strong last year, and I think that she kind of turned it around episode 5 and then just went from there. So we still got plenty of room. The other thing I just wanted to say was like I felt like this episode actually lended itself well to an hour-long episode. I didn't think that we were really. Like we got to see walkthroughs, which by the way, the walkthroughs were funny to me because it was like RuPaul calling over a whole group to come to him rather than him going to a table. I'm like, are you kidding? Like you can't just walk? Is that the problem here? You have those long legs, RuPaul. Use them.
Ru was being so sassy though too. In the walkthrough when the line about speaking of mess, Selena, how would you describe your style?
I was like, girl,
we're going to Miley because we have to. Same energy. Next week, we have the Golden Gal Girl Groups, I believe, is what the title of the challenge is. So we see them recording lyrics. I assume it's going to be recording a song, recording their own verse, and then probably performing it. So we have that to look forward to.
I think that Spice is going to do well. She does that kind of stuff with her sister all the time. I think that this is Spice's episode to potentially turn things around. So I hope that that's the case.
Yeah. I could see Aura do really well with this too, because hopefully this is playing into like what her strengths are too. But I will say that Aura said that she's good at things and then hasn't been able to pull them off. So I will say that with like a little bit of like...
Well, we'll have to see next week, episode 6 with our girl group challenge. Okay, we are done here. Aman, where can people find you on social media? Anything you want to plug?
Nothing to plug right now. Just chilling with Drag Race. You can find me everywhere at Aman Adwin.
Beth, your turn now.
You can find me everywhere at Augusta Wind 11. I am also doing coverage for My Weekly Meltdown, as always. So feel free to follow me there. And even though I'm not doing it, for anybody who's a big Pokemon fan, I invite you to look at friend of RHAP community, Jeremy Carey's Team Level Up. They're doing Pokemon charity battles next weekend. It was a concept that I originally created, so they're continuing to do it, even though I'm not able to assist with it. So if you would like to play Scarlet and Violet against various gym leaders to try to take on the Elite Four, which are all different content creators, go follow Team Level Up on Twitch and Twitter.
And you can find me on Twitter at Liana RHAP. Obviously, holding it down with the Drag Race game. And then also, I have been guesting. I'm going to do... So I covered 90 Day Fiancé for the part 4 of the tell-all, which is the season finale last week. And then this week, I'm going to be covering the premiere of 90 Day the Other Way. So I'm very much looking forward to that. You can catch that over on either Reality TV RHAPups or the 90 Day Fiancé channel. I do want to make a plug in general for the month of February. The Rob is a podcast, like social medias and stuff, is going to be plugging the RHAPups channel, which is the sort of all of the millions of shows we now cover, from 90 Day Fiancé to Married at First Sight to Drag Race, right? We're all on the Reality TV RHAPups channel. So we're going to be popping up on their social media, doing like some Instagram lives and stuff, potentially at some point throughout the month of February. So if you're interested in that, keep a lookout on our social medias, which we just plugged a few minutes ago. You can leave your star ratings and reviews for us on iTunes, robhasawebsite.com/drag race. Thank you to Scott and all of the RHAP team for your help behind the scenes, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.